few months ago, I released a video showing how to set up a very basic home surveillance system using a Raspberry Pi and motionEye-OS. After that video released, I had a few different people reach out and ask how to do things like add additional motionEye cameras, as well as additional IP cameras to their setup. So in this video, I'll take just a few minutes. It's a very, very simple process, but I want to take just a few minutes to show how to add those additional types of cameras to your home surveillance system. So let's go ahead and jump over to my desktop where I've already got a couple of these up and going in a browser, and we'll take a look at how easy it is to set up additional cameras. Okay guys, so right now I've got two different Raspberry Pis set up. You can see that I've got one over here and I've got one down here. Each one has webcam attached to it just for the sake of simplicity. And I covered how to set up a webcam on a Raspberry Pi in that previous video. So like I mentioned, what we're going to do today is actually show how to add multiple cameras to one of these Raspberry Pi motionEye-OS setups. The first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to add like the bottom right, this one down here, over to this Raspberry Pi over here. And like I said, these are both set up identically. You could do it either direction, either one is fine. But what I want to do is kind of show you how to add the second Raspberry Pi motionEye-OS to the first. So all we've got to do here, let's see. Let's minimize this one. Let's minimize that .15. We'll make this full screen up here. Let's drag me over there. So first thing we want to do here is come up to the top where we've got our little hamburger menu, and then what we're going to do is actually click on add a camera. So in order for this to work, you're going to need to know what the IP address is of your second device. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, we're going to click on the camera type, and right here it's going to be, we're actually in this case going to click on remote motionEye camera. And what we'll do is we'll type in HTTP, and then we're going to type in the IP address, which I know is 192.168.1.15. And you can see automatically it pulled in the name that I've already given that camera. So we know that we're on the right track here. Now, for the sake of this demonstration, the username is just set to admin. The password is blank, like just as it is when you first set these up. So that's all I've got to do is go ahead and click OK now. And we'll go ahead and give this a second. So now you can see that we've actually got both this top left and bottom right, as I've named them so eloquently here. And that's all there is to adding another motionEye camera setup. It's just putting in the IP address, or selecting obviously that you want to use another motionEye remote camera, and then putting in the IP address and username and password for that particular camera setup. So that part's really, really easy. So the next thing that we want to do is actually add, this is a Wise network camera. Well, it's a Wise camera, but I've got an RTSP, which is a real-time streaming protocol firmware on it, and I'll make a video on how to do that. I won't cover it in this video, but we're just going to use this as a default IP camera. And the process is going to be pretty much the same no matter what. Once you've got an IP camera, once you can access it via whether it's RTSP or HTTP, you're just going to need to know what the protocol is to reach that camera. So in this case, we're going to add another camera to our existing Raspberry Pi setup. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our desktop here so we can see everything that's going on here. The next thing that we're going to do is actually come up here again. We're going to click Add Camera. This time, instead of, well, we're going to go over here to Camera Type, and we're going to select Network Camera. So here it's asking for a URL, a username, and a password. So the URL is going to vary depending on what kind of a camera you're using. In this case, we know, or I know that because that's the way I've got this camera set up, that it uses an RTSP URL. So we're going to type in RTSP://, and then we're going to type in the IP address, which is 192.168.1.116. And in this case, it actually needs one more little part to the URL, which is live. Here, we're going to type in a dbtech, because that's the username I gave it. And I'm going to type in the password that I gave it, and then I'll go ahead and click OK. And then I'll click OK again. And then here in just a second, it may take it a second for this to load. There it is. So now we can see down here that I've got that Wyze camera working as well. Of course, it's very choppy because I haven't come in to you know, the system settings here. Like right now it's set to 2 frames per second, and that's pretty slow. But if you wanted to save bandwidth and storage space, you could absolutely set it to 2 frames per second. In order to get it a little smoother, I'm going to set it to 30 frames per second. And then you can come in and you can adjust these different settings on a per camera basis. So now that we've made our settings, we've changed our settings, we'll go ahead and click apply. Everything should kind of stop responding for a second, and then once everything comes back, things should be a little smoother than they were before. Of course, this will take, there it goes. So you can see, even though it's still delayed, it's a much smoother look and feel to this camera down here in the bottom left corner there. Okay guys, so there you go. That's how easy it is. All you need to know is what kind of protocol your cameras are using, which you can usually find either on the manufacturer's website or in their instruction manual. And then you just need the username and password, as well, of course, as the IP address of the device you're trying to connect. So once you've got all that data, you should just be able to add a new camera, plug in the relevant data, click apply, and your new camera should show up in your already existing motionEye OS system. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up and maybe share it with somebody who's looking to do something similar to this. The more we can get this shared, the more it helps my channel, the more interaction, that kind of thing. You guys know the basics here. The more interaction I can get, the better this video will do. So if you guys could do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, share the video, that would all be super, super helpful. So I think that's pretty much it really for this video. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. As always, thanks for your time. I always appreciate your support, and I'll talk to you in the next video.